Look at that. We're making meatballs. And not just any kind of meatballs, I'm sure you guessed from the title. We're making vegetarian meatballs. Of course, with a side of pasta. This will be fun. Let's get to it. The first thing we need is our substitute for ground beef, which is lentils. I had a pack of split lentils. I'm sure you can get the other ones. There's all sorts of different kinds. So this is what I had. This is what we're using. So I've got about a cup. It's going to go into a pot, small pot. And the trick here is you got to put lots of water in it because it is going to cook. So I covered them all up. You want to make sure they're all underwater. And you're going to try and put about 4 inches of water over the lentils. And that's what the directions said. So, okay, that's what we did. Let's get it over to the stove. Okay, there's our pot. So this is going to be covered on medium-high heat till it comes to a boil. And then we're going to turn it down and simmer it for 20 minutes on low. And we'll just give it a stir. Stir it every couple minutes when you think of it. And there's our simmer. And here we are 20 minutes later. Well, they've definitely absorbed a good chunk of the water. So now we've got to go strain them. So let's get them off the stove and into our strainer. I've got a mesh strainer because the lentils are so small. And that worked out so much better. Although there's still a lot of water, you got to kind of give the strainer a shake. Make sure you can get a good chunk of that water out. You'd like it dry, if at all possible. And I don't think I'm going to get a whole lot more out. So I'm going to throw it back in the pan till we need it. On to our other veggies. We're going to use an onion first. Peel it. Chop it up nice and small like that. Let's get it in a container. And that's about 1 cup. So there you go. I think we'll use all that. Put it aside. Next up, some garlic. Now I always love this about getting the outside paper off the garlic. Watch this. This is a flat knife or something. Give it a quick bang, bang like that. And whoops. Watch how quick this comes off. Of course it doesn't come off quick the first time. There we go. There you go. Peeled, minced. And now our garlic's good to go. So we get a little bowl to throw that in. And that's looking pretty good. Want to get everything off that cutting board. God forbid I miss a piece or two. Okay, let's put that aside. Last up is some mushrooms. And of course all these are optional. If you really don't want to do them, you don't have to. You could mince up some carrots, whatever, if you wanted. So I got about this much in mushrooms cut up. I think it's close to 8 ounces by the time I was done. This is only half of them. I chopped them up nice and small. And there's our second half. So that was, I think, about 6 good-sized mushrooms. Well, depending on what you've got to work with. There we go. I kept them in the bowl. So over to our frying pan now. About a tablespoon of cooking oil, and we put in almost all those onions. 2-3 minutes till they start softening up. Move them around the pan once in a while. Then we're going to move on to our mushrooms. And same idea, another 2-3 minutes. You can see how the mushrooms are reduced. And of course the onions are getting even more softer, which is perfect. And then once you're done that, in goes the garlic. You only need about 30 seconds with garlic. You don't want to overcook it if you can help it. Mix it around. 30 seconds later, it looks like it's good to me. Back into our bowl. Now we're going to put our meatless meatballs together. So we got to get all those yummy vegetables out. Next comes our lentils. And they're just going to plop right in. Plop. Well, mostly. Now the recipe called for 24 meatballs. At this point I'm not really sure there's enough, but there was. I actually ended up making 30. And if you made them smaller, you could make even more if you wanted to. So there's our lentils and veggies all nice and mixed together. Okay, now we're going to add some breadcrumbs. That's 1 cup of breadcrumbs. However, it did call for 1.5 cups. I ran out of breadcrumbs. So the next best thing, my mom always used this, oatmeal. Now if you've never used it, you might think, it works. I'm telling you it works, and it doesn't taste like oatmeal. It's a good filler. Anytime you're making meatballs or meatloaf, absolutely. Alright, that's a tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Now you can put in a couple teaspoons. 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon. That's 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and believe me, they were spicy when we got done. I can't believe that's all it took. Teaspoon of salt, and now we got to put our eggs in. 2 eggs. 1, 2, and now we're going to bust up the yolks. Well, I like breaking the yolks before you start mixing. I figured it'd be easier now than when we put everything else in, because now we're going to put in 1 cup of grated Parmesan. You want to put some more in, go ahead. The beautiful thing about making these recipes is as long as you get close, you're okay. And there's some things you can add extra to. It works out just fine. And now we mix all this together, and there's the basic meatballs. Now we just got to make them. 2 baking sheets with parchment paper on top. Makes your mess so much easier to clean up. One tablespoon of meatball mixture, and you can see how easy it is to kind of form it with one hand. That's the first pan. 15 are on that one. That's the second pan. 15 are on that one. So with a recipe that said I was going to make 24, I got 30 out of them. Sounds good to me. Into the oven, 400 degrees for 30 minutes. This is the 15-minute mark. And now we are just turning them over so the bottoms go on the top and the tops go on the bottom to brown up some more. We'll see you in 15. Here we are. 30 minutes have elapsed and these things look nice and golden. And here we go. There's all of them. Now I've got a tinfoil container because this is not staying at home. So we're going to put them in there for now temporarily because I've got a sauce to make and some spaghetti. So we're going to pair it with spaghetti, buttered noodles basically. So there's my pasta into a pot. 2 tablespoons of butter, a little bit of salt and pepper, not much. Mix it around until it's all nice and melty. Now into our big pot, we're going to pour our meatballs back in. And the sauce I made, which is basically tomato sauce and Italian seasoning. If you got spaghetti sauce, you want to save a little bit of time, go ahead. It's not much, maybe 15 ounces. And we're just going to mix it all together. Something like that. Now it's going to go back in our container. On the 1/2, of course. And I managed to get them all back into the tin without making a mess. I was pretty happy about that. Alright, let's get our pasta on the other side. Our nice buttered noodles. I suppose if you want to make rice, go ahead, or even mashed potatoes, whatever is going to work. Let's get all those noodles out. There you go. Doesn't that look great? How simple was that? There you have it. Vegetarian meatballs. It's a nice change. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.